You're watching the 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Chase Senior. Coming up on today's show, a 49ers news and rumors mailbag where I answer all of your 49ers related questions as part of our live show as we go live right here on the channel, 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific every single Tuesday. Let's start this mailbag with this question coming in from ShibTiger. Over/under. Jimmy Garoppolo throws one pick against the Cincinnati Bengals. You don't even give me 1.5 for some wiggle room? If it's 1.5, I'm picking the under. I think he throws one interception. I do think it's imperative for the 49ers to win the turnover battle. They didn't do that against Seattle, and they gave a desperate team life. That was one of my keys to the game, and they failed to come through. So I'm going to go under 1.5. You're trying to trick me. Hopefully he doesn't throw 2 because that would be disastrous. Travis Jackson, shouldn't Kyle Shanahan have a 10-play package for Trey Lance just to throw the defense off? I think it'd be wise. I think anytime that you can pose a different threat to the opposing defense, it's really smart. Anytime you can make defensive coordinators think about a running threat, it's smart. Now, Kyle Shanahan was asked, hey, as you were approaching the goal line trying to tie that game up late against the Seattle Seahawks this past Sunday, did you think about putting in Trey Lance as a running threat? He said, no, not at all. I might have thought about it because I think he just adds a different dimension to this offense that we simply haven't seen enough of during the 2021 season. Antonio, do you think the Niners will go back to their running game or go off script again? Look, I think people have to realize that it's not like the Niners went away from the run game on Sunday against Seattle. Seattle stacked the box. They knew what was coming. They forced Jimmy Garoppolo to throw, and Garoppolo threw a couple of picks. What they wanted to do defensively, they were able to do. The mistakes they wanted to force Garoppolo into, they forced him into those aforementioned mistakes. The run wasn't working, and the defense was playing against the run. So Kyle Shanahan, being the offensive coordinator and head coach, kind of went away from the run game at times. But you take a look at Elijah Mitchell's numbers. He ran it, I think, more than 20 times, and the average yards per carry wasn't good. So San Francisco just wasn't able to get that ground game going. Next question coming in from Marco's Gaming Review and more. How has Kyle Shanahan not started Trey Lance yet? He's not going to be prepared next year when Jimmy's gone. As we look forward to the future of this franchise, Trey Lance is it. You move up to number 3, you take Trey Lance because you expect him to be the future franchise quarterback of this team. And if he starts next year and he doesn't look ready, we're going to be looking back to the 2021 season saying, you should have given Trey Lance some more reps. You started him against Arizona. He played the second half of that first loss to Seattle. You saw some moments of growth. You saw the potential. You saw the athleticism. But you look across the NFL, rookie quarterbacks have gotten better with experience. We're not talking about the 1980s and 1990s when you sat rookie quarterbacks for a year or two. This is 2021, and these rookie quarterbacks have an opportunity to really grow with experience that is very, very valuable. So we'll see. Would the Niners be 6-6 with Trey Lance just like they are with Jimmy Garoppolo? I think so. Could they even be better with Trey Lance? Potentially. We'll see in the future. Carl James, what's the latest on Jimmy Garoppolo's trade value? So he didn't play well against the Seattle Seahawks last Sunday, and I don't think that sunk his trade value at all. According to the most recent reports, according to some of the people that I have spoken with across the league, you're looking at a second, third-round pick for Jimmy Garoppolo at best. I don't think he's going to net you a first-round pick. So you're talking second, third, fourth round, I believe, for Jimmy Garoppolo, and it really all depends on how he ends this season as well. If he continues to play well, as I always say, there are always quarterback needy and quarterback desperate teams who will be willing to sacrifice draft capital and draft picks if that means they can get a potential long-term starter. And Jimmy Garoppolo has proven to be a starting caliber quarterback and a pretty solid one at that, even though he's not great. What do you think, though, Niner gang? Will Jimmy G be on the San Francisco 49ers next year? Type Y for yes, type N for no. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's mailbag. So if you get hit with that YouTube ad break, scroll on down, get your votes in. By the time you do that, we'll be back answering these questions. Steven, everything good with Deebo now? So it's kind of a day-to-day, week-to-week thing. When he first suffered that groin strain, it was expected to keep him out of the lineup for a week or two. Kyle Shanahan saying on Monday that Fred Warner a little bit further along coming off his hamstring injury than Deebo Samuel coming off of his groin injury. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's a game-time decision, but also with these soft tissue injuries, you don't want to rush it because if it gets worse, that's something that could knock him out for the rest of the season. So if he has to sit one more game, you might want to do that and take precaution if you're San Francisco. Garcia Brothers, diehard fans of the channel. What's up, Chase? Our special teams unit is struggling bad. Do you think we should look for a new special teams coach? Special teams unit hasn't been good. It's been porous ever since Kyle Shanahan has taken over as head coach. So we're looking at a sample size of 5+ years where the special teams unit has been somewhat lackluster. Now, I like Mitch Wishnowsky as a punter. I think Robbie Gould is pretty accurate, but he has a pretty weak leg. So he kind of comes up short in that regard. The fact that he cannot kick the ball off is an absolute problem. You have to rely on a punter to kick the ball off. And he's been able he hasn't been able, to kick the ball out of the damn end zone. And that's what led to a lot of nice returns for Seattle last week, which put them in a position to have good field position and put points on the board. So, look, the solution that everybody wants is to fire coaches when things don't work out. I think there are other extenuating circumstances that go into it other than just firing the head coach or the special teams coach or whatever you're complaining about. Do you want to look in a new direction? Maybe. Michael Norris, want to see our Niners in the playoffs. What's the worst the Niners could do and still make the playoffs? 17-game, 18-week schedule this year. So I think if the Niners went 9-8, they'd still have an opportunity to make the playoffs. You look at the playoff picture right now in the NFC, you're not catching Arizona to win the NFC West. They're going to lock that up over the next couple of weeks. They're too good. Packers, Bucks, Cowboys in those 2 through 4 spots. And in the wild card race, there is so much that can happen. I think the Rams are sitting pretty at 8-4, a 2-game lead over the Washington football team and San Francisco. Washington football team taking on the Cowboys this weekend. It's going to be a really good game. Here's where it's really important when you look at the past Niners wins. They have the tiebreaker over Philadelphia, who's 6-7 right now. You have the tiebreaker over Minnesota at 5-7. Do you believe in Carolina, Atlanta, and New Orleans at 5-7? I don't. You have a game in 2 weeks against Atlanta coming up for San Francisco at Levi's Stadium. That's going to be another massive playoff game. So I think the Niners sitting pretty, and I think 9-7 could get them in. Speaking of getting it in, hey, you want to get it in with a friend during this holiday season or a loved one? Get them a fresh 49ers shirt and be in their good graces. 50% off right now if you go to chatsports.com/49ers I'm talking about getting it in with their good graces, you perverts out there. This shirt was $28. It is now $14. Available on sale right now. Chatsports.com/49ers. That link is in the description as well as the comment section of this video. What'd you say, Harrison? Historic deals, flawless deals. We've never seen deals like this before. Really good material. Rock the Niner colors and rock the Niner gang with this shirt right now. Next question coming in from PMJ 2015. Will we draft an offensive lineman in this year's draft? I think you have to, right? Is Aaron Banks a bust? He still can't play at right guard. Tom Compton has had some good moments, but I don't think he's the long-term option at right tackle. Mike McGlinchey is under contract next year. Is he the long-term option at right tackle? Do you want to use a second-round pick to lock up your future guy at that right tackle position? It's an imperative and very important position. I think outside of quarterback offensively, it's the most important position on that side of the ball. You need guard help. Laken Tomlinson going to be a free agent. I think you have to lock him up. He's never missed a game as a Niner. Right tackle, right guard, positions of need for me. GamerDude back in the building. What up, my guy? 49ers are 1-5 when Jimmy Garoppolo throws a pick. How can Jimmy Garoppolo get rid of the interceptions this week? Don't throw them. Don't throw them and don't get fooled in coverage by Bobby Wagner like he did last week when Wagner kind of faked the blitz and then went back in coverage. Garoppolo didn't see him, tried to hit Trent Sherfield. It was an awful, awful throw, and he put it right in the breadbasket of Bobby Wagner. Don't make bad decisions. Don't be inaccurate. That's the problem with Garoppolo. Sometimes he's accurate, sometimes he's not. And when he misfires high, that's deadly zone right there. Jermaine Lewis, what do you think of trading Mike McGlinchey this offseason? Yeah, we talked about this last week during one of our mailbags. Somebody had asked me that. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world if you don't think that he is your future answer at right tackle. And without a first-round pick, do you want to use a second-round pick, not on a cornerback, not on a safety, but on a right tackle instead? These are all big positions that we're talking about if the Niners want to continue to be playoff contenders and make runs at Super Bowls and try to bring back a Lombardi trophy to the Bay Area for the first time since the 1990s. You have to lock down these positions of importance. Trading away Mike McGlinchey, could you get a third, fourth round pick back? Maybe. Ben Brandon. Let's go, Brandon. Thanks for that question, my guy. Should Trey Lance be playing more, and should the 49ers fire their special teams coach? Yeah, I answered this earlier. I don't think the solution and the answer is to always just fire everybody. You want to fire the athletic coaching staff because of all of these injuries. You want to fire Kyle Shanahan after that losing skid this year. You want to fire the special teams coach for being one of the most lackluster special teams units in the NFL. It's not always as simple as that. Should Trey Lance be playing more? I'd like to see him more. On some short yardage situations, as you get closer to the goal line, I would like to see him more because he simply just poses a different threat to opposing defenses. Speaking of opposing defenses, the Bengals, they had a feisty defense, and we're going to see what they can do against the San Francisco 49ers on Sunday. If you're watching the game, if you're not watching the game, either way, join our watch party right here live on the 49ers Report. I'll be going live 4:10 p.m. Eastern, 1:10 p.m. Pacific. We had more than 50,000 people join us last week for that Seahawks debacle. Let's overtake that number this week, and let's get a dub against Cincy. Steven, will Elijah Mitchell win Rookie of the Year? I don't think he's going to because he's already missed a couple of games. I had proposed that argument last week because his numbers really good among all NFL running backs, not just rookie running backs. He's been just as good as some of the best running backs in the league. He's top 10, or at least he was last week, in rushing yards among all RBs in the league. So I don't think he's going to have enough to win Rookie of the Year. Has he been one of the best rookie performers? No question about that, Steven. Dillard, another big fan of the 49ers Report, trade Jimmy Garoppolo for a second-round pick and 2/3. That's way too much. There isn't a team that's going to trade away a second-round pick and 2 third-round picks for Garoppolo. I think a realistic scenario that you're looking at, it's going to be one draft pick, second, third round. I think if I were to put my chips on the table and make a bet, that's my bet right there. Last question in this sack, PMJ 2015, should we cut Jimmy Garoppolo next year? No, you should never cut him because you want to get something of value back for Jimmy Garoppolo, even if it's a 4th, 5th, 6th round pick. I think they can get a 2nd or 3rd, like I had mentioned. But if you cut Jimmy Garoppolo, do you save money with that cap hit next year of $27 million? Yes, but you also don't get anything of value back. So I think the smartest play, if Trey Lance is ready, trade away Jimmy G, get a 2nd or 3rd round pick back for him. You have $27 million taken off your cap hit to free up dollars elsewhere to sign a Nick Bosa and or Deebo Samuel. Make sure you give me a follow on Twitter at Chase_Senior. Love interacting and chopping it up with the Niner Gang. For those of you watching on our live show, give me a follow on Twitter at Chase_Senior. Same handle on Instagram. I'll give you a shout out.